Hi everybody, I hope that you guys are good today. So we are going to be looking at the German index today, which is known as the German 30 or the DAX30. So let's get straight into the chart. So I have in front of me the monthly chart open, and already I can see that we had a very interesting move, which is this particular move here, which is an information, right? With the neckline being there. So we haven't as yet seen a retest of that particular neckline, because as I usually say to you guys, that once we have an information with a neckline, ideally what we'd love to see is price coming back to that neckline to test it and then pushing down to finish that structure, right? So in this particular example that we have, or rather this particular chart we have, at the moment we are yet to see price coming back to the neckline to retest it and then possibly pushing down to around this particular level here, where we have this particular candlestick, which is a bearish candlestick with a long lower wick. So at this particular level right here, we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting, and ideally would love to see price coming down to this level to retest it and then possibly shooting up again, right? Um, However, it doesn't mean that things are going to unfold in this manner that I've illustrated. We're just gonna have to find more reasons as to why price should actually do this that I'm illustrating, right? So let's continue. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is actually add a neckline to that particular structure so that we do not forget about it. Just bear with me. There we go. That's the neckline, right? I'm also gonna add another line to this particular candlestick over here, which I spoke about, which is a liquidity candlestick. As price at one stage or another needs to come to this level to get some liquidity before actually going up again, you know. However, this candlestick is still very much far away, and it may take price quite some time to reach this level, you know. So we need to keep at the back of our minds the fact that we have this area which is a liquidity area. So let's continue. So what else do we see that is of significance on this particular chart? So we also had what seems to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern in this region, right? With the neckline being there, right? We had the left shoulder, we had the head, and we had the right shoulder, right? And then we had the neckline in that region, right? This particular neckline is also a very strong area of support, because we had a first touch here, we had a second touch here, we had a third touch here, and we saw price recently testing this particular area, right? So what may happen is, as much as we're looking at this information right here, price may just bounce from where it is and just continue going up, um, ignoring that M structure that I spoke about a few minutes ago, with price coming to this level to test that liquidity, right? That's what may happen, right? So let's continue. Next, what I'm gonna do is just add a neckline to that support area of that inverted head and shoulders pattern, because this is also a very important area that we need to keep monitoring. So here we are, right? So also remember I said that we have a W, or rather an information here with the neckline being in this region. So what I'm going to do now is add my Fibonacci retracement tool, just to see if this particular neckline aligns with any of the key areas on the Fibonacci retracement tool. So let's do that now. Let's see. Fibonacci. There we go. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, there we go. So we can see that actually, if we look at this Fibonacci retracement tool, it actually aligns with the 61.8% zone, right? Because this would be our information and our neckline would be there. And here is our Fibonacci number. Just bear with me, guys. I just want to make sure that you can see exactly what it is that I'm referring to. Okay, let me just re-illustrate that point. So as you can see, as I was saying, the 61.8% Fibonacci zone is in line with the neckline of our formation, right? So what this tells us is that should price from where it is currently come to this level, we would likely look for further selling opportunities, right? And our first take profit should be at least this level here. Our second take profit should be this level, and our third take profit should be this level over here, which would make it a long-term trade. So let's continue, right? I'm just going to delete this Fibonacci retracement tool and continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart, which is the monthly chart? I don't see anything further. I'm gonna head over to the weekly chart, right? But before I do so, I think I should just stress the fact that we also have this candlestick over here, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a very long upper wick. So what that tells us is that we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting up here, and price has to come back to this level to grab that liquidity, right? So this liquidity collection area is also in line with the neckline of that M structure, which also aligns with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement, right? So what this tells us is that it's a very strong level, this level where we could possibly look for selling opportunities. But let's continue. Excuse me. So I now have the weekly chart open. So let's have a look. What do we see on this weekly chart that is of interest, of all significance, right? Let's see. What do we see on this particular chart, right? So another interesting thing that I see is that as much as price is, or rather has created that M structure, at the moment it looks like price is creating a W structure. However, this is not complete. This W structure will only be valid once the neckline is broken, right? And price is in this region. But for now, we can just ignore it, right? So another interesting thing is that we had this candlestick over here, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So what this tells us is that price, or rather, we have a whole lot of liquidity that's sitting this level where this candlestick ends. Just bear with me, guys. I just want to make sure that you can see the level around here somewhere. We have a whole lot of liquidity sitting there. The actual level is here. Just bear with me. We have a whole lot of liquidity sitting at that level, and the chances are within the next week we will see price at the very least coming down to that level to grab some of that liquidity, right? So what I'm gonna do is actually just mark it as well, so that I do not forget about it. Let's see. This is my liquidity area for the next week. There we go. So let's continue. What else do we see on this particular chart that is interesting or significant? So we also have this candlestick over here, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So this confirms to us that at this level we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting there. But for now, it's not that important, because we have that huge M structure here, and we're anticipating price coming back to this level to retest it and then push it down. Should price close above this level, it would confirm this W structure that I spoke about, and we would now start looking for buying opportunities where price would come back to the neckline to retest it, and then head up. Our take profit would be in that case at this level where we have this candlestick, which is a liquidity candlestick because there's a whole lot of liquidity sitting at that level. But that's not important at this stage, and let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart? I don't see much, but what I'm gonna do now is head over to the daily chart. So here we are on the daily chart, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do on this particular chart is add my channel. Just bear with me. So there goes our daily channel. I just need to make sure that it's as accurate as can be. I think I should have it like this. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, there we go. Right. So here we are on the daily chart. So what do we see on this particular daily chart? I see that just bear with me. I see that price was creating a whole lot of I see that price was creating a whole lot of informations. There's an information here, the neckline there, there's another head and shoulders pattern here, right, with the neckline being there, and it looks like at the moment price is testing the neckline of this particular head and shoulders pattern, right? And what we may see in the next week actually is price pushing down to at least this level where we have that candlestick that needs to happen, or rather that candle filling that needs to happen, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular daily chart? Another M actually that I see is here. That seems to be forming, right? Over and above this head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being there, right? So based on this head and shoulders pattern as well as this information pattern, I think it is quite clear that within the next week we might see price actually heading down to at least this level to complete this head and shoulders pattern as well as this information pattern, right? So guys, what we're doing at this point in time is gathering evidence for why price should head lower, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular chart? I don't see much. So what I'm gonna do now is head over to the H4 chart. On this particular H4 chart, I'm just going to fix my daily channels just to make sure that they are, or rather it is in line with my charts. Just bear with me. There we go. Just bear with me, guys. And here we are. Thank you. There we go. All right. So one of the first things that I'm going to do on this H4 chart is add my H4 channel as well. So how would I add my H4 channel in this, or rather on this particular chart? Let's have a look. I would add it in this manner. Just bear with me. I would add it in this manner. There we go. All right. We just zoom in a bit. So we've added our channels, or our channel rather, on this particular chart. What else do we see? So this particular line over here represents that candle filling area that we spoke about on the daily chart, and we know that price has to come back to this level to at least get, or rather trigger that um that candle that's sitting up here, or rather down here. So what else do we see on this particular chart that is of interest? Another thing that I can see is that price is actually in the process of forming another small head and shoulders pattern there, right? The neckline being around, the neckline is in line with that candle filling area, right? And in my humble opinion, should price close below that candle filling area, our expectation is that it should come back up to retest that area and then push back down to at least this area here, where we have this particular candlestick, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower width. So what this tells us is that at that level, there's a whole lot of liquidity sitting there, and that price has to grab some of that liquidity, right? So what I'm gonna do actually is just mark that area as well, so that we don't forget about it. It's also a very important area, right? So I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, but so far we can see that there are many reasons why price should be heading down to at least this level first, and then this level, and then the other levels that we spoke about in the daily chart. So from here, I'm just gonna head on over to the daily chart again, right? So we spoke about the daily chart. On the daily chart, we spoke about this head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being there. We also spoke about this particular M structure, right, with the neckline being here, and we spoke about this liquidity area as well as that liquidity area, right? So can you guys see that there are plenty of reasons why we should be looking for selling opportunities, right? With at least our take profit being at this level, right? So let's continue. I'm gonna go back to the H4 chart. So on the H4 chart, we spoke about this particular head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being there, and I said that should price close below this neckline, ideally what we'd love to see happen is price come back to this area to retest it and then push further down. This is where we would look for further selling opportunities once price is closed below this particular neckline over here, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on the H4 chart? I don't see anything further. From here, I'm going to go to the H1 chart. Okay, so here we are on the H1 chart. Is there anything of interest that we see here? Let's see. Let's see. So on the H1 chart, price seems to be creating an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? With the neckline being there. Price, however, came back, and I think it made this whole pattern invalid. Because from this point, we would have loved price to actually close about there, which would have confirmed our head and shoulders pattern, right? So in my humble opinion, I would say that this particular head and shoulders pattern is invalid because price came back again to retest this area, right? So let's continue. So what else do we see on this particular H1 chart? I don't see anything else of value. So I'm gonna go back to the H4 chart. So guys, as I said, on this particular chart, we have this head and shoulders pattern, and ideally I think we should wait for price to close below this particular neckline and also close below this candle filling area. Once that has happened, we should wait for price to come back to test these two areas, and this is where we would look for further selling opportunities to around at least this point. And then I'm gonna go back to the daily chart, right? So this would be our first TP area, And should price close below this area again, we would look for this area to be our second take profit area, right? So that is it, guys, in as far as the Ger30 index is concerned. As I said, the bias really at this point is downwards, because we have this head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being there, and we have this M formation with the neckline being there. So at this point, we should be looking for selling opportunities to around this point long term. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any further questions, just let me know in the comment section. And if there are any other charts that you would like me to have a look at, just let me know. Peace out.